Hello everyone to a new video, and this time we will not have such complicated talking, but it will be about the most beautiful legend in the ancient Egyptian mythology. Stay with me in this video. We will get to know the legend of Isis and Osiris. Welcome back everyone. The legend of Isis and Osiris, the basic of the ancient Egyptian mythology, starts with Osiris ruling the world. Osiris, the lord of Egypt, Kemet, the beautiful land of Egypt, as the Egyptians called it. A very wise god. He got his knowledge from the god of wisdom himself, God Thoth, the god of wisdom and writing, the one who invented letters, the one who invented the names of things. He taught Osiris the names of things and how to write. Isis, the beautiful beloved sister for Osiris, the goddess of magic, the goddess of love, and his other sister, the attractive Nephthys, the goddess of protection. His brother, Seth, the god of evil, the god of chaos. The Egyptians considered him even the devil himself. Horus, the famous victorious god, the god of power and victory. Anubis, the god of mummification and the god of death. Osiris was a very wise god. All the people loved him. He taught the people how to tell names of things and how to cultivate the lands and how to build the buildings, which made Seth very jealous. Everyone loves Osiris, everyone appreciates what Osiris does, and no one remembers him. What made his feelings even worse? When he discovered how his wife attracted Osiris one night to her bed, and how she got pregnant with him. He decided to take revenge, and he decided to kill his brother. He managed to gather 72 followers around him to help him to kill his brother. He managed to take the measurements of the body of his brother one night while he's asleep, and he made a chest with the same size of his brother. He made a big party and invited all the people to the party, and he stood in the middle of the crowd shouting, "The one who fits the coffin will own it. The one who fits the coffin will have it as a gift." Everyone got excited. Everyone wanted to see if he will fit to the coffin or not. They tried to lay down in the coffin. Some of them found themselves taller and others found themselves shorter. Osiris was happy to lay down in the coffin to see if it fit or not. Even he had to cross his arms on his chest to make himself fit to it. Without a delay, Seth put the lid of the coffin on it and ordered his followers to kneel it tight to the body of the coffin. Others start pouring hot lead on the body of the coffin to make sure there is no chance for Osiris to open it once again. They carried the coffin, threw it in the river Nile. The river Nile carried the coffin to the Mediterranean Sea. The Mediterranean Sea delivered the coffin to the coast of Lebanon, to a city called the Papyrus. By the shore of Papyrus it was a very beautiful tree. The coffin landed next to the tree. The branches of the tree housed the coffin, which made the tree even growing more. A very beautiful, gigantic tree with a very beautiful smell. The news got to the king of Babylon and he wanted to see it. When he saw the tree, he ordered to cut it and to take it to the palace and to move it to be a pillar to carry the ceiling of the palace. Meanwhile, Nephthys felt sad because of her pregnancy, and he decided to abandon her child on the road. The child had been found by a wild dog, and later on by Isis herself, to look after him as her own child. Meanwhile, Isis was searching here and there for her husband, and she was asking the people in the streets, have they seen him or not, till she found 2 children in the market, telling her they have seen people throwing a coffin on the Nile. She got herself on a boat in the river and started sailing and made all the way to Papyrus. When she got to Papyrus, she landed on the shore and she got herself in a shady place. 2 servants from the king's palace saw a very beautiful lady in a white dress sitting in a corner quietly. They approached her, started talking to her. She started telling them how to wear their jewels and how to make their makeup. The breath of Isis perfumed the clothes of the servants and themselves. The servants went back to the queen when she smelled the beautiful fragrance. She asked them about her. They told her about the beautiful white woman with the white dress. She asked them to go back to fetch her. They went back to Isis, told her the queen wants you in the palace, and she was happy to join the court of the king. The king, who had an infant with a very bad illness. The infant son of the king was suffering from a terrible illness, and Isis offered to restore him to a good health, but with one condition: no one will interfere in what she is doing. One day after the other, the child comes in a better health. The queen felt curious to understand the secret of Isis. One night she made her way to the nursery and she hid herself behind a wall. She found Isis locking the door, making a big fire with a massive flame, and she is throwing the child in the middle of the flame. The mother shocked and ran and grabbed the child and started running away. She found herself in the front of Isis, but this time in the front of goddess Isis, not the human Isis. Isis shouted at her, "I can make him stronger and well, but in my own way. Why you seize the child, you stupid? Few more days and he will be immortal as a god, without any illness." The mother regretted what she did and she asked for forgiveness. Isis forgave the mother and she accepted to recover the child back to health. The king asked Isis for any gift, and Isis did not ask for anything but the pillar in the palace. They accepted that. She took the pillar, cut the pillar and brought the coffin out of the pillar. She carried the coffin on the boat and she took it back to Egypt. Once she arrived to the marshes of the delta, she found her sister waiting for her. She forgave her sister for what she has done. They opened the coffin and took the body of Osiris out of the coffin, and they turned themselves into swallows and started flying around the coffin. Nothing but the breath of Isis managed to revive him and to bring him back to life. By the breath and the magic of Isis, she managed to get the living seed out of Osiris and to get pregnant of him and to deliver later on god Horus. Isis had to leave Osiris behind the reeds and had to go to deliver god Horus. Seth was hunting in the marshes of the delta and he saw a familiar coffin behind the reeds. "This is the same coffin I buried my brother in." He got mad and broke the coffin and brought the body of his brother outside the coffin. And he decided this time to cut the body of his brother into 14 pieces to make sure he will not come back to life once again. And he threw those 14 pieces on the Nile. And the river Nile took them to different places in Egypt. Isis came back to the place of the coffin and she found it broken. And she knew how Seth found the body and cut it and throw it in the river Nile. Isis got herself once again on the boat, started sailing on the river Nile, searching for the parts of her husband. But this time, she was accompanied by god Thoth and god Anubis. Even crocodiles were making way for her, and they promised they will not harm the divine bodies on the boat. Every time Isis finds part of Osiris anywhere in Egypt, she makes a chapel on it. They managed to collect all the parts of Osiris except one part, which is the male part of Osiris. The catfish ate it. Anubis managed to mummify Osiris and to preserve his body and to make him the first one comes to life and the first one to be mummified, which makes him the god of the underworld. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed the video, and wait for the coming video. It will be about the battle of Horus and Seth and how Horus was trying to take revenge for the death of his father. Stay with us, stay tuned. Don't forget, hit the button down there, the red one, the subscription, and hit the like button, and stay tuned for the coming video.